This is Nursing Uncensored. I'm your host, Adrianne Benning, and I invite you to listen in on conversations I've had with real nurses about the crazy and wonderful lives we lead. This podcast is meant to create laughter in addition to serious discussion, and nothing is off limits. We're always honest, but we're not always safe for work. Please listen responsibly. Welcome to Nursing Uncensored. I'm here again with my pal, Jillian. We've already been talking for like 25 minutes. So if we seem
a formal start.
So if we seem a little already kind of like, blah, it's because we are. So you have filled this niche that I had for these two like really kind of high demand episodes. And I've gotten lots of requests to talk about nursing school online. Now I don't know if it was an episode or a blog. I'd have to go back and look. The days kind of blur together during quarantine. But I did an episode about like how to survive online classes. And I tried to make it mostly generic for any students. But really today we're going to kind of like zoom in a little bit because a lot of schools are either automatically doing online, if they're smart, in my opinion. And many are doing like a hybrid thing. One of my listeners messaged me and said that she was starting LPN school this fall, or in like a month, I guess not even fall. It's like almost August. But she said that they're going to do clinicals as quickly as possible in anticipation that trends are going to continue and everybody's going to have the Rona by the end of the year. So they're trying to like jam pack stuff in. And so people want to hear what's up with this like online school thing. Now I've taken online classes, but it wasn't recent. I graduated from my online program 2 years ago. Okay, yeah. So I haven't been in online classes for 2 years, except for like classes at work and that sort of thing. But you are actively taking online classes.
Yes.
So you're like in it, you're living it, you've got all these ideas, and you made an outline that I am like, yes, this is why I wanted you to talk about this with me. So I'm going to kind of take a back seat. I want you to kind of like walk us through these tips and tricks. And I'm going to do the like oohs and ahs and what do you mean by that? So I felt like I talked a lot last time because I had the list of hacks, but this is your time to shine. And I adore you so much that I know you will. Even if you don't, you will.
Well, okay, first of all, it is your podcast, so I feel like you should be talking a bit more. So just want to, whichever way the wind flows, but I feel like it should, flow a bit more.
Did you say wind flows? The wind flows and the sea blows? Sorry, I'm done. You really want me to talk more now?
No, I was just going to say, let it be known that I've been up since 5. I've had collectively 42 ounces of cold brew coffee, and I just got done with a CPR class. And because you've taken CPR so many times, you just mentally shut down because at that point you've memorized the test. You know what color shirt the people are wearing in the videos and like where their pit stains are. So like I was just cut off mentally for 3 hours. So this is like jumping back into society.
Excellent. So, welcome.
Yeah. So this is going to be fun. So I want to preface this by saying I took online classes. So I'm in my associates. So when I first went to school, I went for my associates because we went to the same institution. So at that point, I did online classes, oddly enough, during less than ideal situations. So I obviously did not take my ADN program during Rona, but I took it when we had where we live, that really bad snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so they were closing down a bunch of schools, but rather than set us all behind 6 weeks, they decided to move us to online classes. And it was probably just as maybe less hasty than what they're doing now. So I got a feel for structured online, which is what I'm doing now. And I also got a taste of the hectic, this was not planned, we need to jump to online. So I tried to incorporate both.
Excellent.
So I was working during both too. So that being said, I don't have a family. I don't have children. All I have are 2 cats who like me 50% of the time. So I don't really have to worry about anybody else. So let that be known. So I will say, so I'll sign up for my classes, what have you. Mine are 6 weeks long. So they'll normally release the class shell, I would say, about a week in advance. I would say 5 to 7 days in advance before the class starts. So they'll let me know when it opens up. And at that point, the first day that it opens, or the second if I'm working nights or what have you, I go in and just kind of take a look at, how the course is laid out. A lot of the times the instructors will put a little blurb about themselves and how the course is going to be laid out. I look at that first, and then I immediately go over to the syllabus. And I am more of a paper in hand type person. There are certain things that I can read online, like short articles or, publishing, things like that. But like grades, syllabus, like things that I'm going to frequently need, I want a printed out version of that. So I'll go read the syllabus and then I'll print that out. I'll highlight things that I need, like grades that I need, big deadlines. If they're like the course I'm taking now, we have a project due at the end of the semester, but they're dividing it into milestones. So you don't just do the whole thing the night before. So kind of get a feel for that. And then with the syllabus, I feel like you can also tell a lot about how your instructor teaches the course by the way the syllabus is written out. Because if you have a more like laissez-faire, like democratic type leadership for, if you have that type of an instructor, I've noticed that the syllabus is more written out of here is a tentative schedule, but we'll change it as needed, or, let me know if something works better for you, or it's more of like here's a rough outline, but collectively we'll decide on something. Whereas if you have more of an authoritative type instructor, it's here are all your deadlines. Here's how everything's going to go. Contact me with questions. Not in a cold way, just
very matter of fact.
Exactly. Straight to the point. No way around it.
No negotiation. This is your assignment.
Precisely. And honestly, if you're taking online classes, I definitely prefer that. Which, all instructors across the board, you don't know what you're doing. If you did, you wouldn't be taking the class. So I don't mind taking a back seat and having somebody else tell me what to do, because I need structure and I need deadlines. I need things to keep me on track. I also look at what is currently available. Some instructors I've noticed would post the entire course on the first day that it's released. Yes, I do too. Not everybody does it, but the ones that do, they are sweet cherubs, and I will forever appreciate them.
The thing that I love most about that is that, especially when you work off schedule from the rest of the world, when you work night shift, if I work 3 night shifts, I don't want to get my assignment on night 1 and have it due on night 3. I want to be able to self-govern and say, I have to work a really heavy load at the end of this month. I'm going to do all of that work so that within reason. Some people don't want you working ahead for good reason, but if it's available, I'm not just going to be like, let's not do till Thursday. And it's like Sunday. I'm going to be like, you know what? Yeah. So I love it when they do it out like the whole semester.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Before you share your planner, which I'm really eager to see, and I just want to say one thing about syllabus or syllabi. So I have one binder left from nursing school, and it's actually from my community health class. And the binder's been disassembled, so like it's basically just file folders and tabs and stuff. But what I did want to show you, mega trick. I only buy the binders with the clear plastic sheeting in the front because here's what I did. You don't need to see what it is, but I put my assigned readings. I shrunk it and printed it up here. And then I had all my assignments so that every week I didn't even have to be like, oh, where's my calendar? I could just be like, it's Tuesday. Bam. Got to do this. Done. So that is my tip and trick for everybody is like get the clear plastic ones. And even if you're using like one binder for 2 classes, Farm, Patho, whatever, so that's my tip. I've said that before, but I think that's a really good one.
No, but I mean, if you're not, when you're reading a book, you don't have the binder and the book open. I mean, you just have the book open. If the binder's right there, you can just eliminate the middleman.
Yeah. No. And it's easy because then if somebody in class is like, hey, when's that worksheet due? You can be like, Thursday. And they'll be like, damn, you're organized. All right.
Or if you don't want to talk to them, you can say, see binder.
You could be like, get out of my face here.
Okay, bye.
All right. So you have your planner. I'm kind of a planner junkie. Like I love like bullet journals and I have an entire shelf in a closet back here. That's all of my journals and day planners because I use my day planners like journals. Okay. So
yeah, let's take a tour of my planner. First of all, it's a big one because I have a busy life and I need to get everything under control because if I'm not doing 6 projects in each aspect of my life, I am bored. So, first of all, yes. Oh my gosh, are our planners similar?
I got mine at Target. Does everybody know what this is? Sorry, I'm interrupting again. This is a PureWick. This is an external female catheter. You hook that puppy up to suction, you slap it between the labia majora, and pow, sucks all the pee out. Okay, sorry. I keep interrupting you. People are going to send me nasty messages on iTunes reviews saying that I need to shut up.
It's a beautiful, and the PureWick is a beautiful investment, but also so simple that like it's almost annoying that you didn't think of it first.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, what? Okay.
No, I agree. So first of all, get a planner that closes because I feel like mine just flies everywhere. So this is my handy dandy planner. That was like a lingerie slap.
I know. I was like, what
is that? Everybody's all hot and bothered with just the sound and they're like, oh, it's just a planner. It's fine. No risque content today, folks. Second, invest in good pens. I have fine-tipped Sharpie pens. Don't know if you can see them.
Love it.
Yes. We have, the same one, different kind. Yes. I have, my work backpack, which we could do a whole separate episode on work backpack. Let's do a whole separate episode on the work backpack.
Guys, you're watching it happen. You're watching the gears turn.
This is how history's made. So yes, invest in a good pen. I love the way these write. My pens, like my ballpoint pens, are in my work backpack, and I always have my planner in my work backpack, so I don't have a lot of things hanging on the outside. But the Sharpie pen, I love it. It's my go-to. So then on my inside, I have my little like pocket thing, and then this has all of my like printout things. This has all of my documents that I need to save, my like CPI, ACLS, BLS cards, things that I could need and I may not have my wallet with me. So those are always super nice. And there's always somebody that's like, hey, can I get a copy of insert random piece of information? And I'm like, yeah, here, let me give you a random piece of information.
If you're a mega nerd, you could have pre-printed copy. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. Don't waste paper.
But one of each is really not a bad idea. If you just use one sheet of paper and then cut it into thirds for each thing or whatever, you do. Yeah. I also have a pack of stickers because I like things to be organized and I like things to be cute and colorful.
This is basically turning into us playing show and tell. Where are my damn stickers? This is us being like, oh my God, we have all the same stuff. Look.
Oh, we do. Oh my gosh. And there's even a color scheme too.
There's a coffee cup. There's an airplane. Won't be using this thing for.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good because anything that differentiates things to your vision is going to like stand out.
Yes, exactly. And if they're fun, then I'm like more drawn to whatever it is. The only The ones that I have actually never used is Workout. Those have never been touched. So
you just cause double lung aspiration. Thanks. Oh, that actually kind of...
Adrianne gets aspiration pneumonia. So this was the month that I started at my new facility. So here it is in all its glory. If you can zoom in closer, let me just make sure there's no like HIPAA-y type things on. No, there's
all
not.
All those hot doctor phone numbers.
Well, that's in the Rolodex.
I thought you were going to say something like, ew, but that works too. That works too. More power to you. More power. Yeah, whatever.
Divided by specialty. No, I'm just kidding. That would be gross.
Oh. Let me give you a referral, girl. Do you prefer an orthodontist or an orthopedic surgeon?
Let me see. Okay, so the way that I like to divide things is by week. So beginnings, everything has its own little week. And then on the side, I have like random things that need to get done throughout the month. Or if it's like week whatever, I'll try to coordinate it with, its corresponding place. Mm-hmm. So then I have like there is literally everything in here. I have dinner dates, when I need to go to the bank, lists of things I need to get done for the day. I have assignments that are due. I have my work schedule on here, people I need to call, places I need to go. I have, if I think of like anything I need to get at the grocery store and I don't have my phone on me, I'll put it in my planner. My planner is probably my entire life, and I don't know what I would do.
Your brains. Yeah.
100%. And it's every piece of your brain, because you just lose part of it throughout the day, and it's all in one place. Oh, it's phenomenal.
When I returned to school as a non-traditional student, I had a hard time getting back into using the planner because I had been using like a Google Calendar for just like the minimal stuff I had to do.
Yeah.
However, I think that when I first started using my planner, when I started school, yes, I would take the planner with me to class and stuff. But if I was at home, it was laying open on my desk, because I'm far more likely to use it. If it's in my bag, I'm never going to take it out and I'm going to become a mess. But yeah, so now that I've built that habit, I'm a mega nerd that keeps both a digital and a paper planner, but you don't have to do that. That's just because I like to set alarms. So all of the things I put on paper, and I'm really fast at just like adding it in my Gmail or my Google Calendar, but then it'll ping me to be like, don't forget that shit's due to be submitted at 9:30 tonight.
So that is how I do my month overall. So then I can't show the days because I know for sure there's like kind of personal things on there. Mm-hmm. But for each day, that is when I'll read this chapter, this book, these pages. I need to do this much of this. I need to have this much of my paper written. And then I put for work, very recently, I would put if I knew I was going to be working like on the COVID unit, and then I would know to like bring my COVID bag, which would have, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, an extra set of clothes, an extra pair of underwear, socks, like, face wipes, like oil blotting sheets, snacks, bottle of water, like just weird things like that.
Save that for another episode, because we're just racking up the episode ideas here.
Okay,
We'll do a COVID episode.
Yeah, that's another good one too. So that's what I would put in my day-to-day. And then I would also have my instructors' email addresses in the very front too. And then I would put their email address, and then I would put which class it corresponds with, because I have my Outlook app, and I think there's like 4 or 5 different email addresses or email accounts hooked in there, because I've got my ADN email because I still tutor, and then I've got my current school, my home, my personal, work, blah, blah, blah. You get the gist of it. It gets complicated. If I don't have my computer or whatever, if I can't like log into the website for school, I'm like, hey, I have something. If I need to somehow send an email from the Barnes and Noble computer, which that's, super specific, probably never happened. But you know what? If I have to, I'm prepared. So
absolutely. And you'd be surprised. There are times when you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot to do that. I need to email them now, but I got to go into class. Like, I don't have time to look up the email address. If it's all accessible, then it's so much easier. And when I got into like my RN to BSN, I had one teacher for the class, one teacher for the lab, one teacher for the seminar. I was like, And one seminar was like, I don't remember exactly what the classes were, but it was like the community health class, the community health lab, the community health seminar. It was like, God, I was like.
And then when you start to add preceptors into the mix, it's just one more person to add to it. No, I completely agree.
Just do it as you go. Do it as you go. Every time you meet an instructor, get their shit where you can find it.
Yes, or invest in one of those little business card holders. If you have an instructor that has a business card, like in ours in the nursing office, I did that sometimes.
Okay, fair. I was like, what teachers are giving you business cards? But that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like if you were one of those students that first did in class and then moved to hybrid, if you're able to get business cards, do that. Also, if you develop really good rapport with that instructor, keep their business card, because then I've had instructors that I now talk to as like coworkers and colleagues, and it's actually the best feeling in the entire world. And I have had so many projects where I've had former instructors give me their opinions, experience, thoughts, proofread my stuff. And it's
recommendations.
Yeah, exactly. And it's turned out better than I could have imagined. And it's not like you're doing it for personal gain. You're doing it because everything we're doing in this profession is for the greater good. It's for the patients we take care of. So I don't know. I just thought that I just think
great. That's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is my favorite one. Then you make a Target run or wherever your school supply place of preference, wherever you decide to go get your stuff from. So if nobody knows, you can't really tell because of my current color scheme. I am obsessed with the color pink. So I go and I get like just pens, paper. I get a hole punch. I get a stapler. I always make sure I have stapler with a ton of staples, a hole punch. I get whiteout. I get markers, highlighters, Sharpies, and then I get just a cheap spiral notebook. I mean, unless you want to get the $3 one, but my parents have ingrained in my head that we don't spend $3 on a spiral notebook just because it has a picture of Barbie on it. It stuck with me. Thank you, Dad. Then I get a folder. But don't get the paper ones. They always rip. Don't play yourself. Skip ahead of the paper. You're going to get disappointed.
I know they only cost 30 cents, but like upgrade a little bit. And then reuse them. If you buy the super durable ones, they're with you through your PhD.
Correct. You're going to either pay 30 cents and be disappointed, or you can pay the $1.20 and you can be happy forever. It's really a clear choice. But in the ones that I get have I don't know what you call these, like
they're like the little Brad, they're called Brads actually.
Brad.
I know, right? I told Brad I was recording with you again. I don't think I can get it. Oh, yeah, here we go. I have everything within an arm's reach at my desk. Brads are these little tiny things that have the tails that you can like open up and hold your paper together.
Yes. And, and actually, if we're plugging things in that are really convenient, if you are a baby nurse that is just starting in an institution, especially if you started a bigger institution, this is also very helpful if you put some paper in there, because you have a whole folder with 2 gigantic slots for all of your orientation paperwork. And you can write down all of the things that don't make sense to you. And looking back, I kind of want to cry because I've grown so much in my almost 1 year, because I didn't know what I gave Mag for changes in a QT interval. And now I know, and I'm about to take my CRRT class, and I couldn't do that before. So go, Jillian. High five self.
It's good to have those milestones, because it's such a hard job that we often leave. Like, I could have 11 hours of a great shift, and if I have a bad 12th hour, I'm like, I'm a terrible nurse. How did I fuck up so bad?
I am literally adding another thing to this list because we have to go over this, because it's my favorite part while we're talking. But cart before the horse. Okay. So go to Target, get your stuff, come back, get everything organized, put your paper stuff in your folders, and just kind of see where you want things, see how you like your stuff laid out. And then last but not least, take a look at your work schedule, which is what we were talking about. If you are rotating, if you are straight, especially if you're straight nights, because you have to account for the sleep before the shift and the sleep after the shift. So really, you are working cumulatively 4 days if you count your sleeping. So you need to take that into account, because you can either be the person who can look at a discussion post and say, yeah, that's opinion based. I can do that after I get off a night shift sleep. Or I'm going to have to read like a 10-page paper that somebody else wrote, and I am not going to want to do that after I get off a night shift, precisely because you'll fall asleep. So looking at your work schedule and your school schedule as one collective being really makes your life easier. Another reason why you get the planner. If you've never used a planner too, force yourself to do it, because you need to get into the habit. It's, again, I'm going to compare it to working out, but the stickers have never been used. So we know this wasn't like a near and dear type comparison. People say that if you keep working out, it doesn't get so terrible. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know, because I've never gotten past the terrible point, but I'm going to take y'all's word for it. It's just like using a planner. So it's going to be super tedious and it's going to suck. And you're going to be like, I hate this. Let me put this all in my phone. But then as the time goes on, you're going to reinforce those habits of using your planner. And then pretty soon everything's going to be in one place, and voila, it's one less thing to worry about. So here we go. Everything's rocking and rolling. First day of class. So depending on what your institution does or what your teacher preference is, some people have a whole separate discussion board for an introductory post. Because if you're doing online classes, you're never going to be face-to-face, or you spent 2 weeks with your classmates and had a really nice cohort, and then all of a sudden you're switching to online. So that initial discussion post could either be, hey, how's everybody handling switching to hybrid classes or switching to online classes? Or, hey, we've never met. Like my instructor now, she's from the Netherlands. We're never going to meet face to face. So it's nice to get to know each other, get a feel for what your classmates are like, where do they work? What specialty do they like? How many dogs do they have? Can I see pictures of your animals? There's never a bad time. Scoot them over whenever.
It's a human connection.
It is. And so even though COVID has really wrecked school for some people, it doesn't take the human connection is altered but not lost. Mm-hmm. So, and I almost feel like you're getting kind of a deeper human connection when you're doing online, because I feel like you're more vulnerable. At least for me, when I was introducing myself with icebreakers, I got tired of icebreakers and I was very embarrassed. But online, things are more free-flowing. I was able to say, this is what I like to do. This is what I'm passionate about. Here are the things I'm really nervous about. Can anybody help me? And you just have this outpouring support from your classmates, because they're all in the same boat and they're probably freaked out too. So you get comfort and support in numbers. So absolutely. Even if it's not mandatory, just do it.
And it's worth making a little bit of effort, because there are people that I went through my online program with, and I didn't meet them until after my online program. But I'm really glad I wasn't, I would never be a jerk in an online discussion board, but I'm really glad I never had that interaction of well, that's a stupid answer, because now I'm like, oh, I remember you from discussion boards. I hope I didn't say, so if you have a good rapport, those relationships can develop IRL. Because especially if you're doing a program that's close to where you live, you never know. These students could become the people that you rely on in a code. That person that you took first semester farm with might save your ass when you can't get an IV. You don't ever know. So always treat people kindly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I completely agree. And then for your first day of class, check to see if there's any new information, because there's always something that gets slipped in, whether it's a little piece of reading or a checklist or something helpful, or, the link to the Purdue OWL for your APA citations. There's always something beneficial. If there's something that's added, just take a look at it, even if you just glance over it. Mm-hmm. And then read your peer discussion posts. Again, try to get the camaraderie, try to get the human connection. It's going to make the class feel as close to an in-person class as it can be. And then try to read something. And I didn't know how else to word this. If you are just like, I'm so overwhelmed, this is so much, my mental health is trash, I'm stressed, COVID is all around me, try to read something. Even if all you're reading is your week laid out, it's a small step. It's, if you're having a bad mental health day, you know what? You got out of bed and we'll celebrate that. Same thing. You didn't read everything you needed to read, but you read something and I'll congratulate you. Mm-hmm. And then also it's worth mentioning, I beat myself up so many times because the first week, if I had a quiz that was due, if I had a paper, a discussion post, and I didn't know how the class was, if I got it like a less than perfect grade, I would beat myself up for weeks to come. And I think it would hinder my progress going forward because I was so hard on myself. Mm-hmm. Your first week is a test drive. You have to remember that your first time for everything online is a test drive, mm-hmm. especially if this is your first time taking an online course. It is going to be a lot of trial and error. You know yourself better than anybody else does. So if you already know things that aren't going to work, do not try them. Now is not the time to be crazy. Now is the time to more stick with the things that work. If you are a visual learner, do your concept maps. If you are more like a kinesthetic learner, I don't know, fidget during your Zoom lectures. I don't know, whatever you want to do, but stick to the basics of what works.
And if you want to learn what your learning style is, like if you're not sure what it is, I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's a
VARK.
Yeah. So VARK, VARK. So are you visual? Are you auditory? Are you, what's the other, kinesthetic? Reading. Yeah. So there are these free tests all over the internet. So if you're a new student or maybe you want to improve upon not so great study habits, just Google the VARK quiz. There are lots of different variations, but it asks you like, do you like to do this? Do you like to do that? If someone gave you this problem, how would you solve it? And then it kind of gives you like a breakdown, like, because mine are really close. I'm like, mostly kinesthetic, but really close behind is visual. And then like my auditory is like, forget it.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you take the VARK early on, you're going to know whether or not you're going to need to put extra effort into clinicals, because if you were a kinesthetic learner, rest assured there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because if you're struggling with class and you're a kinesthetic learner, guess what? Clinicals are going to be your saving grace because you're going to have hands-on experience. So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's good to know. It's good to identify that if you don't already know.
Yes, take the VARK early. Highly suggest it. So then now we're on to the weekly things. These are the habits that I try to keep up on. I try to be almost religious about it because these are my concrete things that have never failed me in the, now going on like 4th year of school. Mm-hmm. It's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm also thinking about how I'm almost 30. So there's just a lot going on right now in terms of time. So
I got my bachelor's at 37.
Time means nothing.
It doesn't, because I got like 25 more years to work.
Exactly. So what? Oh no! How do we? No.
Go back.
Okay. So weekly, 1, look at the mirror and remind yourself that you are beautiful, intelligent, and full of youthful vibrance. Second of all, don't cry. Actually, no, that's worth saying too. Don't cry, but if you need a cathartic cry, just do it. Just do it. I still cathartic cry. I think I just did one in the supply closet my last shift of work. So no shame.
We all do it.
Yeah, and you felt better afterwards, and all the tears puddled in my N95. So it's nice and soggy when I use it again. So anyway, do everybody may be different. I always do my discussion posts first because 9.5 times out of 10, you're going to need to do a discussion post, and then you'll need to do follow-up responses to that. Mm-hmm. And I would say 50-50 of like 50% of the teachers are okay with you just blasting everything out in one night, but your other half are going to have you log in on different days so that you're not just piling 4 days of homework into one night. Mm-hmm. So do your discussion post first, because if you work 3 nights in a row and your discussion post is due on the 3rd day, do it the morning before you go to sleep for your night shift, and then do your responses on the night shift. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on their computer. I mean, you're going to have your thoughts everywhere with you. That's the easiest way to get credit. And if you're sitting at your computer, it's 4 a.m. and you're like, oh, ho hum, what's going on? You're like, oh my gosh, my discussion post. And there you go. Your response, it's submitted.
And as annoying as discussion posts can be, like I had one class where like the first post was due on Monday, then we could reply by Wednesday, then we had to do our second set of replies by Friday. Like it was very structured and it was super annoying. So I would type out like my full thing, like even if it was next week's discussion, I would type it out in a Google Doc. Anyway, work ahead. That's all I'll say.
I love that I sent this to you too, because there's so many things that you and I would have been friends in school if we went to school at the same time. We would have been a power couple in the nursing school environment.
Oh, you have no idea.
We would have, would we have lost a couple teachers from exasperation? Yes. Would we have also gotten things done? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let me see here. Yeah. Responses when you have free time. Don't procrastinate. If you take away anything from all of my rambling, do not procrastinate. This is the one thing that is either very good or very, very bad about taking online classes, and it's completely up to you, is that your time is driven by you. You have due dates, but 3 days is 72 hours. So you are in complete control about what you do in those 72 hours. Do not procrastinate. If you have the time to do it today, just do it today. It may suck. Me personally, I'm going into education. I'm taking a research course. I hate research. It doesn't click with me. I think it's dry. I'm not good at it. So with those things, I would have to turn off everything cellular. I would have to open my windows and I would have to sit and force myself to do my homework, because if I didn't do it right then, I would put it off to the last minute, and it bit me in the buns so many times. So
I don't condone this for everyone, but one of the things that I used to do is I had like one of those bathtub things that you can like put over the bathtub, and it has like the back jack for the book. I would read in the bath, not because I love living dangerously and like totally dumping a $600 book in the tub, but because I was a captive audience. I wasn't distracted by anything. I wasn't walking around my house. I was just in that tub, which was enjoyable. So I'm not saying study in the tub, but for me, I had to find that thing that was like distraction proof. And that's what it was for me sometimes. Now, I wasn't like doing math in the bathtub or anything, but like, you got to read a chapter that you don't want to read about a kidney.
You didn't bring your graphing calculator in.
I put it in a Ziploc bag like you do in an ISO room. Just kidding. But yeah, procrastination will really kill you in an online course, because my first couple semesters online class, I was ahead of the game for the first like 4 or 5 weeks. I'm so far ahead of the game. I'll do that later. And then within weeks, I was like, holy shit, how did I get so far behind? So if I had a 5-page paper due and I had a week to do it, I'm not writing that 5-page paper in one day. I'm writing a page a day. That's just how I work. The last thing I'll say before I hand it back to you is that there's another key thing with procrastination. I don't care who you are. You don't retain information if you are tired, drunk, hungry, exhausted, or sick. I'm sorry, you might retain it for the exam, but you need to know this stuff. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that do these things when you're of solid mind, as much solid mind as you can be, because you're going to get weary.
Yes. Don't grocery shop when you're hungry. Don't do homework when you're tired. And which actually, yes, brings me to my next thing. Chip away at your projects that are due at the end of the course. If there are not set deadlines, you need to set deadlines for yourself. Even if it's not a huge project, even if it's just reading, if you have to read a 7-chapter portion for this week and each chapter is like its own book, you need to chip away at that or you're going to be sitting there for hours, sister. And let me tell you, it's not going to be fun.
And you're going to give up. I had so many times where I was like, I will totally read this 50-page chapter the night before I have to go to class. And then the night before class, you get like 2 pages in and you're like, I'm never going to finish this. And then you don't.
And then, okay. Use your resources. And I even put, yes, all of them. So we have talked about this on the nursing school roller coaster episode, and I'm going to say it again in case you didn't listen to it, but you should go listen to it because we're both on there and we have great conversation and it's a really fun episode, but just plug for us. But yes, use all of your resources. Your online class is going to be full of required readings, lists, checklists, syllabus, documents, videos, web links, scanned letters, I don't know, whatever. It's going to be full of stuff. So before you ask the question of, where do I find this? Ooh, I don't understand how to do this. She didn't give me everything I needed. She probably gave you everything you needed. You just have to dig for it a little bit. So when I say use all your resources, use all of them. Now, when you have exhausted every single one of your resources, if you would feel comfortable, it's like when your mom says clean your room and then it's like you clean, but then it's mom can come in and look at it clean. Same concept. If your teacher can look at all of your resources and if she can't find your answer, then you can feel confident asking. If you think that there is even a smidge of a doubt that you missed something, just go back and look at it again.
And this is a really important skill to develop. I'm glad you described it that way because here's the thing. Fast forward, you've graduated school, you've passed the NCLEX, you're at your job.
And you will do all of these things.
And you will do all these things. So now you're having a hell of a shift. You got all this stuff that you got to do, some things you maybe never done before. You're not sure how to do it, but all the other nurses are busy too. The charge nurse is not excluded from patient care, so she's got her own load of patients and it's just a hellish night. This has happened to me. I don't know how to do this. Well, if you go to your charge nurse who's busy and you say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? And this is what I do now because I'm learning to be a charge nurse. So I'm learning to help people find resources. Did you look up the policy? Did you ask anybody? Did you read the package? Did you read the MAR? Did you look at I've even had people that didn't know how to change a weird ostomy bag. And I didn't know, but guess what? I Googled the manufacturer of the ostomy and found a full page color guide on how to change the thing. So the point I make is you're not just learning information, you're learning how to find information on the fly that you need. So I encourage you to do everything Jillian said. Look at everything on the website, look at every handout they give you. And then if you can't find something that helps, go to YouTube. I have an entire blog post, a whole list of channels that literally saved my ass in nursing school. Podcasts, Khan Academy, Quizlet. They're so go to the internet. You're all mostly millennials.
Yes.
Figure it out.
If any of you out there are taking physics, science, pathophys, chemistry, nursing courses, and you need specific diagnosis information and you need a quick and dirty, Osmosis, the whole channel on YouTube is phenomenal. And I'm going to be honest with you, I paid for the membership to go onto their website and use it. And to this day, I still use it. So great investment. And if, I know not everybody's financial situation is different, but you know what? If you come across the money and you try it out and you like it, that is a good investment.
Or also, if your school is, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say too, if you're going through these, if you're going through your online courses and you still need help with something, but I'm going to try to think of how to explain this because it's going to sound weird. Okay, I'm just going to use me because I don't know how else to explain this. So I went into nursing school knowing I wanted to be in ICU, and I knew that I would move. Come hell or high water, I was going to be an ICU nurse. So when I was taking my A&P courses, which some of that actually was online too because we had weird situations, it's okay. It happens. You're always going to have weird things happen. So if you already know like what specialty or what area you want to go in, and you're taking a class where those two things can combine, buy a book. It's another resource. You're always going to have it. You're always going to be able to use it. You're going to evolve. You're going to take information out of different places and retain it differently, blah, blah, blah. It's invest in a book. Invest in a book.
And you know something? This is actually funny that we're talking about this, because when I graduated school, out of a fit of just anger at not ever wanting to do that again, I got rid of all my books. I gave them to someone who was going to school. And so like 2 years ago, I don't remember, when I started tutoring and you just graduated from your ADN, I was like, hey, can I buy your Patho and your NCLEX book from you again? Because I didn't want to like go out and buy brand new books.
Yep.
Sitting on the shelf right here, so that when I'm tutoring and they're like, what does acetyl-CoA do? I don't have to be like,
I don't know.
I can be like, I don't really remember that, but let me grab. And then you've got the answer. So it helps. It helps.
And then you're using your resources. It's all coming back full circle. Okay. Oh, busy weeks. Okay. I feel like we could ramble on and on and on about this, but we all know our busy weeks. It's going to look different for everybody. But it's the week that you look at and you're like, oh, fuck. And you know what's got to happen, but like, it's like an incoming storm, and you have a million shifts and so much homework and a ton of stuff to do. When we were talking about not being able to submit things early, there is a cheat for that. If you know what your discussion post is going to be, or you know what your assignment's going to be, there's nothing prohibiting you from writing your discussion post in a Word document, saving it, and putting it in a folder. So then when the time comes that you have to submit it, all you have to do is copy, paste, boom, it's done. So you did it in a good mind space, so everything is like coherent and well thought out, but you're submitting it when you're garbage water and nobody knows.
Even when I was submitting in a clear frame of mind, I still did it in a Google Doc first, or a Word doc, like Google Drive or whatever, because it has autosave. And I've had times before where I'm like, I type this magnificent response. Well, probably not that magnificent. I, at the time, thought it was magnificent. Go to hit send, and what happens? Pop up, you have been logged out. Do you want to log in again? Fuck. And then your beautiful masterpiece is gone, and you're like, I'm never going to write anything that was as poignant as that. So just do it. Even if get in the habit of having it auto save in something, whatever that program is. But if you do it right in the discussion box,
that's a bold strategy.
And honestly, it probably took me 3 really solid lost posts before I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it in the Google Doc.
Mm-hmm. If you do that, you're going to have a lot of skinned knees. We're just trying to save you the heartache. Oh, while we're talking about auto saving, when your class gets released, make a folder on your computer. I am a folders type lady. My computer, I wish I could show you my computer. It's so beautifully organized, and there's such a great picture of my cat on there. But I have, I have my BSN, my MSN, because I need to remind myself that I'm going to go farther than where I am now, but I'm incredibly proud of where I've came from. There's a whole part on that too. I can't cry yet. That's to the end. So anyway, so I have associates, bachelor's, master's, and then within those, I have every single class. Within that class is every single thing, every piece of paper, every document, every web link, everything. I have my whole class in a folder and back it up to an iCloud, because you can log in somewhere else and then grab everything you need if your computer breaks. Technology is going to fail you. You need to have a backup. Get a flash drive. Get another computer. Use your spouse's computer. Use a friend's computer. Get email addresses, phone numbers. Like, you need to make sure you can access your folders in another place besides your computer.
I wish I had like sound effect applause to play behind that, because that's the truth.
Yes. And again, if you don't do it, we're just saving you the heartache, because it's going to happen. Life is going to just bite you in the buns, but save your stuff. Save your stuff. Again, save your stuff because it's worth repeating.
So I'll fess up right here. A lot of the blog posts I put up on the website are from discussion posts. I just tweak them so they're less academic. Mm-hmm. But these are things that I'm like, oh, that was actually, I had to think this through. I had to do this. I did have some classes where I just did the discussions and I was like, I don't have time for all this. But a lot of stuff, because it was already in my Google Docs, I was like, this is actually an interesting topic that people care about. So my point is you never know when you're going to need it again.
Yeah. And there was actually one course that I had where my discussion post, it was saying on my end that I had submitted it, and on my instructors, it was saying I hadn't. Mm-hmm. So I actually sent her my Word document, and I was like, if you look at the properties of this, you can tell.
You see when it was made. Yeah.
Exactly. You can see when it was made, and you can see when it was, I'm like, if I made it 4 days before, and you can see when all of my revisions and saves and stuff were made, I was being diligent about this. And I ended up getting the credit for it because I was, saving stuff. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, technology sucks. I'm like, thank you so much. You're a little angel. Mm-hmm. So another thing could save your butt. I put these 2 things in all caps because they are worth.
She did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it too. Yes. First of all, do not forget your house. I've lived in the same 500 square foot apartment for 8 years. It is which actually I'm moving soon. So sad. I'm going to have to give this place a send off. There are a lot of new changes this year. Oh my gosh. Oh, we can do a whole nother episode on that. Anyway, back on track here. Don't forget about your house, especially if you live in an apartment. If you are a younger or like me, returning to school student, and you don't have the budget, or you're not living with a significant other or roommates, and you have a small space, your house is now your classroom. So you need to take care of it. And I know it can be super hard because you are so drugged down with, oh my gosh, I have to do homework, and then I have to read, and then I have to spend 4 extra hours learning this topic because now it's online and I'm a face-to-face type learner. Don't forget about your house, because I promise you there is no worse feeling than waking up and having homework to do, and then opening up your bedroom door and there's clothes on the floor and there's dishes and your garbage needs to be taken out, and you're so run down with school, and it's like your house is just another thing. And I'm also a proponent of clean house, clean mind. Mm-hmm. So if your house is organized, you're going to feel more at peace and organized. If you look around and things are, clean, well situated, if you feel like you've got a good flow, it's going to motivate you to do good, clean, well-flowing work.
And I think that needs to follow the gradual rule. Don't wear every piece of clothing in your wardrobe and then discover that on the day of your exam, you have to, I had a nurse, or a classmate, bless her heart. We still talk to this day, but there was one day she came to class, and it was, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at her, but she came to class and she was working full time. She was doing evening classes, daytime clinicals.
Do I know who you're talking about? Yep.
So you're going to love this. She came into class one day, and we always sat next to each other because not only do we help each other, but then if the teacher said something that made us go,
then you could make that face.
Yeah. But she came in one day and was like, I just got off shift because we had to wear our school scrubs. I just got off shift. I thought I had clean laundry. The only fucking scrubs I could find were under a wet towel that my son used to wash the dog.
Oh, no.
I laughed so hard. I was like, I'm so sorry I'm laughing at you, but you smell like a wet fucking dog. So I use her unfortunate. And she was half of her, I think, was fuck my life. And the other half of her was
yeah,
I showed up. My homework's done. That's all I can give you today. But the point is, at least kind of keep your little world in order. Because I could go into a kitchen when I'm starving, and if it's a mess, I go, oh, fuck, there's nothing, forget it. I'm just going to get carry out. But if I go in and the counters are clean, I can be okay, I'll I can handle it. It doesn't feel like another giant mountain to climb. So yeah, don't forget your house.
Yes, don't forget your house. And this is another very important piece. Do not forget about yourself. Do not forget about yourself. When you go through school, whether that be face-to-face or online, but especially online, there are so many more challenges that you don't have in any other format. And I mean, I think by default, you wake up every morning and you are like, I am going to be this. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to be whatever. Or you can say, I'm going to grow up to be a whatever. Well, you're already something. You're already you. Do what you've been doing, but you can't be wonderful, beautiful, intelligent, caring, amazing you if you don't take care of you. You're a beautiful flower, but every beautiful flower will die if you don't water it. So you need to make sure to take care of yourself. Again, with the mental health thing, you know what? If you're having a really depressed day, there is nothing wrong with just getting out of bed and making it to the couch to do homework. You could be naked, dirty, matted hair, unbrushed teeth.
You don't have to be Insta ready.
No, you do not. Nobody cares what you look like, but small steps are okay. Well, actually,
what you feel like is more important.
Yes, what you feel like is more important, and you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You need to make sure that you are taking time for you. My planner has days set aside for me. I just had a for me day. That's why I've had so much coffee. I went and got coffee and I got my nails done and I went to Target. I did a good thing for somebody else. I did a good thing for me. Did a productive thing at home. Did a productive thing for school. That was my way of taking care of myself, because tomorrow I'm going to do homework and I'm going to feel way better about myself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And also, if you take care of yourself, I also think that your patients can tell that you're taking care of yourself. And if a patient, actually, one of the patients I took care of, I remember she all night was throwing insane rhythms. She had 32 beats of asymptomatic VTAC. So my toes were like this all night, curled. Oh yeah. My butthole was clenched for 12 hours. I mean,
watching
sorry.
That monitor.
Oh, yeah. It was absolutely terrible. Just beads of sweat dripping down my face. I remember I looked at my charge nurse and I was like, I have never felt so underqualified to be doing my current position that I am right now.
But the funny thing is, you are qualified.
Which is terrifying. Terrifying.
It's always scary the first time.
But you know,
the first everything.
I don't care how seasoned you are. 32 beats of VTAC. If that doesn't make your butthole clench, you're in the wrong profession.
This is true. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, this woman, 32 beats of asymptomatic VTAC. So I ran all the way up to the door and then walked in. And I was like, hey, are you feeling okay? Whatever.
I can picture this. Boom, 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 down the hallway. Hi, how are you feeling?
What can I do for you?
You feeling a little anything in here? No? Okay.
A little fluttery by chance? Or my favorite, sometimes I'll go, hey buddy, and then they'll be like, oh. But it's like cute, Yeah. So anyway, we got to talking. I made sure she wasn't about to, go in the shitter on me. And then towards the end of our conversation, she's like, you really like your job, don't you? And I was like, oh girl, don't get me started. Because like I said on my private Facebook page, if anybody knows me, they know not to ask why I love ICU, because I'll talk about it for 27 hours. But I was like, yeah, I really do. And I was like, why? It was very out of the question. She goes, because whenever you come in, you're always so happy. And she goes, when you talk about your coworkers, you're always so happy and you always educate me very fully. And no one ever said that to me when I first started, because I wasn't taking care of myself. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm taking care of myself, and now that I've found that good balance, it radiates, I think. I don't know. I mean, I can't radiate.
No, I think it does. But. And I want to add this corollary to that with taking care of yourself. So in nursing school, we understand that there are demands of you that are not made of you when you're finally a nurse. You don't have to memorize that shit. You can look it up. You don't have to go to clinicals unless you're working on an advanced degree. You just go to work. Here's what I'll say. How do I want to phrase this? You don't want to make habits of skipping meals, pulling all-nighters, and then going to clinical. Now, you might have to do this once in a while. because shit's going to get crazy. And there are going to be these nights where you're like, I have 3 exams, a paper, 2 shifts, children, a job, a boyfriend I'd like to see someday. So once in a while, do that, but don't make a habit of pushing yourself to the extreme limits, because this is a long, long run. So,
yes,
do yourself a favor.
Yes. No, I completely agree.
I'm like, everybody should have string cheese and protein in their bag.
Yes, they really should. And
I mean, string cheese is like kind of protein. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And you're absolutely right that there are so many, I still think about this. There are so many things that they expect from you in nursing school that like you get out into the real world and you're like, oh, it's so hard because this is actually not that bad. You know, like you're not having to handwrite care plans. There's a document button and you just click little buttons and then all that's done for you.
But you got to put in the work to get to that place. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, you're going to be better for it. You're going to be better for it for putting in 100% effort, but you can't put in 100% effort if you do not take care of yourself. You are an important person. You are valuable in the healthcare community. You are valuable to the world. You need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You do not want to be shaving years off your mental health because you decided to put everything else before you.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's a hard lesson to learn, especially because we're all very selfless people, but just take care of yourself. I'm going to go out of order for this one.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I put email your instructors early and then a C also. So this is going to be a nice 2-in-1. So email your instructors early. If you are looking through all your resources and you don't have everything you need and you're like, oh, fuck, email your instructors as soon as you can. Say, hey, look, I'm sorry. You know, I tried to be as self-sufficient as, and key, phrase your emails. If you say, hey, I looked through all of your resources and I, did some digging of my own. I either 1, want to verify that what I'm seeing is correct, or 2, I truly cannot find what I'm looking for. Can you guide me in the right direction? When you 1, say, I did everything in my power before coming to you. And then 2, say, can you guide me rather than can you tell me? It not only shows that 1, you are self-sufficient, but that 2, you want guidance. You don't want it spoon-fed to you. And that will take you a long way with your instructors. And again, like a mantra, if you start in that habit's going to continue. You approach any charge nurse like that and they're going to respect the hell out of you. You approach your boss like that, they're going to respect the hell out of you.
Absolutely. And to the opposite end of that, if you tell your teacher you're having trouble finding resources for your paper that's due tomorrow, too bad. What do you want me to do about it now? I'm at home. I'm your teacher. I don't want to help you with your paper at 9:00 at night, the night before it's due. You should have come to me weeks ago. And I've even had instructors who like I've said, hey, this says this thing, but then this other worksheet says the opposite. Which one is it? And they're like, oh my God, I totally didn't even notice that was a typo. Nobody else had emailed her. And it was a question on the exam. I remember that day being like, glad I fucking said something, because all the people in my class were like, is it this? Or I don't know.
You knew because you asked. Yep. And then the C also to this, do not be afraid to ask for help, because there's nobody in the world that can do everything by themselves. You can apply this to literally any situation you want, but I'm going to apply it to online classes. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Going back to school, working full time, I mean, I thought that I had taken so many online classes that going through this now, I was like, oh yeah, like this will be fine, whatever. And then I went through a patch where I had so many things going on that like I was in such a bad place. I felt overwhelmed. My house took a turn. Like my friends were like, are you okay? Like what is going on with you? Like, they were like almost staging an intervention bad. And it was right when COVID was really blowing up, and, you add that aspect into it. And I was working with those people, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I had emailed my instructors and I just said, hey, I am not trying to bring my personal life into my academic life, but I'm trying to be honest with you. I need some help. I don't know if there's anything I can do about getting an extension, or if you could work with me on this assignment or help me with this. But like, the pace that this course is going and the way that my life is going, these two are not compatible, and the speed I'm going at is not sustainable. I'm admitting defeat. I am getting on my knees and I am politely asking for help. And I've never had an instructor ever turn me down.
Mm-hmm. They want you to succeed. They don't teach, whether it's a community college, especially if it's a community college, they're not there because, maybe they are. I shouldn't say this. Maybe they are there because they want to collect a paycheck. Most people are not going to go through the bullshit of teaching an entire class, creating a curriculum, if they're not into it. Like, they want you to succeed. And a lot of the nurses that taught me are actual nurses in the community. Like, they're adjunct professors, but then they're like full-time ICU nurses, or one of my nurses worked in the pain clinic. Like, they're real people. They want you to succeed. And if they don't, they're a rarity, and screw them.
Yeah, exactly. They can fuck off if they don't genuinely want you to succeed.
Ask somebody else.
Yeah. Go ask any other person because you just picked out a bad egg in the dozen. But yeah, you'll come across almost any instructor. They want you, like you said, they want you to succeed. They want you to be able to do your best. They want you to thrive. They put their hard-earned money, probably money. They probably bought things that would help enhance your curriculum. They probably spent money on books. They've put so much time and effort. When we look at our patient as our 12-hour baby, they look at their class as their 6-week-long baby. Yeah. They want to nurture it and love it because they want you to get something out of it. So if you say, hey, I want to do this correctly, I want to do this to the best of my abilities, but I just need some help, they're going to help you. And no one can do it on their own. But the sooner that you recognize where your limits are, knowing your limits and saying, I am fast approaching my wall, so I need to dig my heels in before I slam into the wall, you're gonna thank yourself later, and you're gonna be so much better off.
And those are the times when it's important to swallow your pride and say to those closest to you, I tried doing this on my own. I need your help. If my partner had not made meals for me between, like, I'd sleep all day, I'd go to class in the evening, I'd go to work overnight, go to clinicals for a shift. It was bonkers. And if I had relied on myself for my nutrition, I would have died. So call on those people that are closest to you and say, hey, do you have time to help me? I really need you. Don't cry wolf. Like, don't just get people to do shit for you because you can. But if you really are struggling, this is the time that your people want to help you. And if you don't have people, seek out classmates. Find those resources. You're not in a vacuum. Online, it's a little bit harder, but maybe for some people it's easier. It's easier for me to email you and say, hey, would you mind going over this with me real quick? Than it would be for me to wait for you to finish a conversation in the hallway after class and sheepishly be like, hey, it seems like I really get this. Can you help me? Let that anonymity and that distance be your courage if that's what you need. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're not used to taking online courses and this is your first time taking it, it can be hard. And your instructors know, especially during the COVID era. They understand. They didn't plan for this either. It's a learning curve for everybody.
They're scrambling too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? If everybody's scrambling, but you're the one brave soul that decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I respect you enough to come to you for this because I want to submit quality work, but I need help doing it. It's going to take you miles, and you're taking the high road. You're being honest. You're being respectful. As long as you go about it in the right way, nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's like I tell people, not everything that we say in these episodes is going to apply to everybody. No. You've got to cherry pick the things that are going to help you.
Oh yeah, 100%. And okay, the last thing that I wanted to put in here kind of ties in with the planner, but I guess whatever piece of organization. I highly suggest that you keep your planners from 1 to 2 years prior. Reason being, I am very much an instant gratification type person, and I don't believe things until I see it in literally any form. Like, my love language is words of affirmation. Like, it tried and true. That's the way I am. And there will be times that I will get, even now, that I will get really down on myself. And I'm like, I feel very underqualified for my job. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. Everything is new. Like, I haven't done anything these past couple years. Go open your planners and go look at all of your past months. I might cry and I have no shame in it. And like, you look at your past months and you're like, oh my gosh, like I did so much more than I thought I did. And you'll look at your work folder full of all these things that you wrote down that like you had no idea about. And then all of a sudden now you know them. Keep your planners, because you will be able to look back and you will be so proud of yourself, and it's going to motivate you to keep going.
Those things remind you that at one point where you are now was someplace you aspired to be. So if you are about to start nursing school, if you're, whether it CNA, LPN, RN, BS, whatever the hell you're doing, it's going to be hard. Yes. But the alternative is what?
You don't do it. You always want.
Right. Exactly. So what are you going to do instead? You got to fall back. You want to go work at a department store, which is fine. It's cool to work at a department store. But like, just remember, this is going to be hard. But like every milestone, yes, I got into nursing school. Yes, I got my CNA. Yes, I passed my first exam. These are all things that, because you need to pump yourself, because there's going to become a time where you're so excited first semester, and then that first big exam comes back, and you're like, I think I want to go drive a cab, actually. So I'm gonna leave you with this. This sounds a little cheesy. I kind of want to take it out on this. So there is a nurse that I've been following for quite some time on the interwebs. Her name is Monique Dottie. She doesn't know me. She isn't affiliated with the show. She doesn't know I'm saying this. She's probably never heard my show, but she is one of the true inspirations in my life. Like, and one of the things that she talks about, and I listen to this talk with her all the time. I actually kind of want to just save it so I can just listen to this part by itself. But she talks about how when she wakes up in the morning, she has these affirmations, and she says them to herself. She goes by Nurse Mo online, Nurse Mo. So find Nurse Mo, because she's a beacon of light.
Her Instagram handle is I am Nurse Mo.
I am Nurse Mo. I have no problem promoting other nurses because, like I said, she's already, she doesn't even know me, and she's already changed my life. So every morning when I wake up now, it's the cheesiest shit in the world, but I repeat what she says in one of her affirmations in one interview I saw. She says, I love you brain. I love you arms. I love you belly. I love you booty. I love you mind. I love you soul. She actually like says these things to herself. And, at first I was like, that's weird. I don't think I can do it. But I started doing it. I started doing it, like trying to do it in the morning. Like, I love my arms. I love my mind. I love my body. I love that I keep getting up and doing these things. And then there was one morning, I'll never forget. It was so funny. This is the power of habit. So I remember there was one morning, I wasn't sleeping well. I kept like kind of stirring, and I knew it was like getting to the time that I had to get up. And I was half asleep. And the first thing I did was, I love your mind. I love your body. I love your soul. And I kind of laughed at myself because I was like, I'm half asleep. I don't know what fucking time it is. I don't know what day it is, but this habit has stuck with me. And it made me smile. It makes me smile. I don't have to say it out loud. I don't say it in front of a mirror. I don't have it like monogrammed on anything. But just by doing this for like 4 or 5 days in a row, I was doing it half asleep instead of half asleep being like, oh, fuck, I gotta get up. My back hurts. My feet hurt. I hate my job. I don't want to do that. You're setting yourself up for shit. So I encourage everyone listening to this, as school gets rolling, say things like, I can do this. I'm smart. I'm up for a challenge. I love that I have access to do this online, that I can still continue my dream even though half of the country is going through the shit. So I encourage all of you, as we close this episode, to remember that you're valuable even when you're struggling, and that school is not going to be easy. But my God, that feeling when you see on that screen or that piece of paper in front of you your nursing license number, that day, I still get goosebumps.
Do you remember when I called you after I passed boards?
Yeah. And I know that there was that moment too, because I was like hitting refresh every 30 seconds for 4 or 2 days or whatever it was. And then when I saw it, it's like, and then the feeling of like, and at my graduation, at my pinning ceremony, I just bawled the whole time. And people were like, it's okay, don't cry. And in my head, I was like, I am so fucking glad I'm done with this shit. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it's so beautiful, I'm moved, this is such a beautiful ceremony. It was like frustration tears, like, fucking finally. So just keep your eye on that prize, keep your eye on that feeling, keep that in your mind, and really like set yourself up for something good though.
Well, yeah, shoot. I like that. That was
like my Jon Stewart moment of Zen, for those of you that are old enough to remember Jon Stewart's moment of Zen. So that's my moment of Zen for you. All right. Well, how do we end every show, Jillian?
Happy nursing.
Here at Nursing Uncensored, we may be, well, uncensored, but we're not unfiltered. Protected health information has been changed and concealed to comply with HIPAA. The things we talk about are from years of experience with thousands of patients, things we've read, stories we've heard. If you think we're talking about you, we're definitely not. Also, we're real nurses here to provide helpful and accurate information. But don't take anything we say as fact without doing your own research. Refer to your state's Board of Nursing, Practice Acts, and your institution's policies and procedures if you have questions about your practice. Lastly, our very strong opinions are ours alone and do not reflect those of our employers, educational, or professional institutions. Thanks for listening, and happy nursing, folks.